Good evening, my dear friend. Now, it is time to gently leave behind all the hustle and bustle of the daytime world, the world of the land. Allow your consciousness to become like a small boat, quietly leaving the harbor at night. Untie the mooring ropes of thought, and then, slowly, sail into a vast, inner ocean, composed of deep blue serenity and bright, silvery moonlight. Let us, together, take a long, deep breath, like the waves of the sea. Through your nose, very, very slowly, inhale, feel this cool, fresh air, with its hint of salty mist, as it gently fills your entire chest. Your body feels as if it is being gently lifted upward by a soft tide. Then, when the breath is at its fullest, let it, like a gentle, ebbing wave, slowly flow out from your mouth. With this slowly receding tide, you feel that all the subtle tensions in your body, and all the invisible burdens, are carried away with it. Your body becomes incredibly light. Your mind, incredibly serene. Now, we are going to embark on a long voyage through time. We will return to over 3,400 years ago. Back to the ancient, warm Mediterranean of the Bronze Age. You are lying on the deck of a small, wooden, ancient Egyptian merchant ship. You can feel the hull of the ship, with the rise and fall of the waves, swaying gently from side to side in a most rhythmic way. This swaying rhythm is so steady, so reassuring. It is like a great, gentle cradle, softly lulling you to sleep. You reach out your hand and touch the deck beside you. You can feel that the wooden planks, which were baked by the day's sun, have now become somewhat cool in the night sea breeze. A thin, damp layer of dew has condensed upon them. You smell the unique scent of the Mediterranean air. It is a mixture of the saltiness of the sea, the fruity aroma of the olive oil being transported on the ship, and the scent of some unknown, dry plants, blown by the wind from the distant lands of North Africa or the Levant. You look up at the incredibly clear, unpolluted night sky of the Bronze Age. You see a great, bright Milky Way, like a sacred river composed of diamonds and milk, stretching across the entire firmament. You see the constellations you know. But their positions are slightly different from what you would see from your home in the 21st century. They have all shifted just a tiny, almost imperceptible amount. This makes you truly feel the deep and great power of time. You just lie there, quietly. You listen to the ancient sounds that also belong to the Mediterranean. You hear the gentle, continuous, rhythmic sound of the waves kissing the hull of the ship. You hear the powerful whooshing sound of the wind filling the simple, square linen sail above your head. You also hear the faint, dreamlike creaking sounds, made by the ropes used to tie down the cargo, as they are blown by the wind and rub against the wooden mast. All these sounds weave together to form the most primal, most hypnotic, and eternal serenade of the ocean. And so you lie, accompanied by this serenade, feeling your consciousness, bit by bit, becoming more blurred, more soft. You are about to fall into a deep sleep, in this ancient, quiet, Mediterranean embrace. Suddenly, you feel that the air around you seems to have undergone a subtle change. You feel that the wind has stopped. The warm sea breeze, which had been caressing your face, has suddenly, without any warning, disappeared. You hear the sound of the sail, which had been whistling in your ear, also fall silent. And then, you smell that salty scent of the ocean in the air being replaced by a more damp, fresher scent, like a forest after the rain, a scent of earth and mist. You open your eyes. You see a vast, dense, milky white sea fog, appearing from nowhere, silently beginning to surround your small boat from all directions. This fog is so thick that you can barely see the surface of the sea a few meters away. This fog is also so quiet. It seems to be able to absorb all the sounds in the world. You feel that you are being completely enveloped by a great, gentle, white silence. There is no fear in your heart. You just feel an unprecedented, ultimate, mysterious tranquility, as if time itself has stopped. And then, you see them. In the thick, cotton-like, white mist, some huge, black shadows are faintly visible. They are ships. They are mysterious warships, completely different from the clumsy Egyptian merchant ship you are on, filled with power and speed. Their prows are carved with various ferocious, sea monster-like totems. Their hulls are long and sleek, like the body of a dolphin. You cannot see the people on the ships. You can only vaguely see some tall, silent, statue-like figures, standing on the decks of those vessels. You cannot hear any sound either. You cannot hear the sound of oars stroking the water. Nor can you hear any human conversation or shouting. These huge, black, silent ships are like a fleet of great ghosts from another dimension. They silently emerge from the thick mist beside you. And then, just as silently, they slowly disappear into the mist on the other side. They do not notice you. They do not disturb you. They are just carrying out their own mysterious, ancient mission, one that is unknown to anyone. They are the powerful, ghost-like, sea peoples, who are mentioned repeatedly in ancient Egyptian texts. When this mysterious, silent fleet has completely disappeared into the distant fog, the great, milky white sea fog around you also begins to slowly dissipate. The wind begins to blow again. The moonlight once again illuminates the surface of the sea. Everything seems to have returned to how it was before. As if that mysterious, dreamlike encounter had never happened at all. You lie on the deck, savoring the memory of that incredible sight. Your heart is filled with a deep reverence for this ancient, unknown ocean. You realize that upon this seemingly peaceful sea, there are countless secret, powerful forces hidden that we do not know of. And we, the humans who sail upon it, are merely small, fortunate passers-by, who have not yet been disturbed by them. In the centuries that followed, this sea was never truly calm. You see the brave Phoenicians, who lived by sailing and trade, their merchant ships laden with the cedar wood of Lebanon, the cotton and linen of Egypt, and the precious purple dye of Tyre, sailing to every corner of the Mediterranean. But sometimes, when they encountered a merchant ship weaker than their own, they would, without hesitation, transform into ruthless pirates. You see the valiant Illyrians from the Balkan Peninsula, and the equally brave Etruscans from the Italian Peninsula, they too, freely switched between the identities of merchants and pirates. In that ancient era, before a unified, powerful maritime empire had yet appeared, the ocean itself was a free, gray area, filled with both opportunity and danger, and not bound by any law. Now, just allow your consciousness to rest upon this mysterious Mediterranean, a sea filled with ancient mist. Feel the gentle, rhythmic swaying of the small boat as it rocks with the waves. Feel the absolute tranquility of being isolated from the world, when you are enveloped by that great, milky white sea fog. And also feel that unique peace, filled with awe and curiosity, that remains in your heart after that chance encounter with the Phantom Fleet. The tranquility of the Mediterranean, filled with ancient, mysterious magic, gently envelopes your consciousness. You are still lying on the deck of that small, ancient Egyptian merchant ship, feeling the rhythmic, gentle swaying. Now, you feel a stronger wind beginning to blow from the north. This wind disperses the warm, humid air of the Mediterranean, bringing with it a fresher, colder scent. The small boat you are on seems to be pulled by this wind from the north. It begins to sail at a faster speed, toward a new, unknown direction. You pass through the treacherous Strait of Gibraltar, known to the ancient Greeks as the Pillars of Hercules. You sail into the vast, more turbulent embrace of the Atlantic Ocean. You head north. You see the color of the sky changing. The deep, sapphire blue of the Mediterranean sky is gradually replaced by a softer, dimmer, washed-out grayish blue. You feel the temperature of the seawater, bit by bit, growing colder. Finally, you arrive in a new sea. This is the North Sea. The water here is no longer the transparent, turquoise color. It is a deep, dark green, almost black. The waves here are higher, more powerful. And you are no longer lying on that small, clumsy merchant ship. Your consciousness has quietly transferred to a new, more powerful vessel, one filled with strength and speed. This is a Viking longship. You are lying on the wide, oaken deck of this longship. Beside you are tall, silent Viking sailors, rowing with great effort. You reach out and touch the side of the ship. You can feel the unique, clinker, construction, made of overlapping, heavy oak planks. You can feel the gaps between the planks, filled with animal hair and pine resin for waterproofing, which feel slightly sticky and rough under your fingertips. You smell the unique, strong scent in the air, a mixture of the cold seawater, the salty sea breeze, and the black tar used to coat the ship's hull. You look up. You see a huge, square sail, made of heavy, red and white striped canvas, completely filled and bulging with the strong north wind above your head. You hear the powerful, low roaring sound of the wind-filled sail. You also hear the slight, reassuring, resilient creaking of the tall mast, made from a single, giant pine tree, under the pressure of the wind. You look forward. You see the prow of the longship, carved into a menacing, majestic totem of a dragon with its mouth wide open. It holds its head high, and with its hollow eyes, inlaid with some unknown red gemstone, it stares at the misty, unknown waters ahead. It seems to be the living soul of this ship. A powerful guardian spirit that brings courage to the ship and all its crew, and wards off all the unknown dangers and sea monsters lurking in the deep sea. You can feel the entire ship moving forward at an astonishingly smooth and swift pace. Its long, elegant hull, like a sharp dagger, easily cuts through the turbulent, dark green waves. The ship sways gently, up and down, side to side, in a most rhythmic way with the rise and fall of the waves. This swaying is different from the lazy, hypnotic swaying you felt in the Mediterranean. This swaying is more filled with a sense of power, and a resolute determination for exploration. You close your eyes. You entrust your entire body to this reliable Viking longship, which feels like an extension of your own body. You entrust your entire consciousness to this cold, wild, northern ocean of the Vikings, an ocean so full of the unknown and adventure. You, the ship, and this sea, at this moment, have become one. You no longer think about where this ship is headed. In our dreamscape, it is not on a journey of raiding, filled with violence and fire. It is simply on a lonely, epic journey of exploration and voyaging. Perhaps it is searching for a new, uninhabited, fertile land, one that can be settled and farmed. Or perhaps it is on its way to visit a distant, eastern kingdom, filled with wealth and treasures, to engage in a peaceful, goodwill trade. Or perhaps it is simply to satisfy the innate, unquenchable, and powerful curiosity of these brave northern people, who live at the edge of the world, for the world beyond the horizon. And so you lie, quietly, on this constantly swaying deck. You listen to the deep, unified calls of the equally silent Viking sailors as they row with great effort. You listen to the long, lonely cries of the white seagulls circling above you, cries that sound almost like weeping. You listen to the sound of the cold, salty waves crashing against the side of the ship, and then shattering into billions of tiny, diamond-like droplets of water. Occasionally, some of this cold seawater is blown onto your face by the wind. You feel the sharp, refreshing sensation. You stick out your tongue and lick your lips. You taste the purest, salty flavor of the ocean. In that ancient time, without any star charts or compasses, every voyage out to sea was a great adventure, one that required risking one's life. These brave sailors could only rely on the position of the sun and the stars, the direction of the wind, the rhythm of the ocean currents, and the precious experience and legends passed down by word of mouth from generations of older seafarers. Their every voyage was like a respectful dialogue with this moody, unknown, and dangerous ocean. And at this moment, you are in this unique, serene experience, one filled with a sense of destiny, a sense of being completely one with the ship and the sea. Your consciousness, with the swaying of the ship, enters a wondrous, hypnotic state, halfway between dream and wakefulness. You are no longer a person living in the safe, modern world of the 21st century. You are a true Viking, living more than 1,000 years ago. In your heart, there is no attachment to the past, nor any fear of the future. In your heart, there is only this boundless, cold ocean. Only this ceaseless, resolute, forward voyage. Only the purest, most powerful yearning for that unknown world that lies beyond the distant horizon. That unique tranquility, composed of the grandeur of the King of Storms and the elegance of the Queen of Rings, still lingers in your heart. Your consciousness, like a fortunate, shining ice crystal, is quietly, freely, floating, spinning, and dancing in that vast, elegant ring of Saturn. You feel a weightless, dreamlike, and unparalleled serene beauty. Now, allow your consciousness to slowly withdraw from this magnificent ring. We are about to embark on a longer, lonelier voyage. You leave Saturn, that elegant queen. You continue your journey into the more distant, colder, and darker deep space. Here, the light of the sun has become very faint. It is no longer a warm, great ball of fire. It looks more like the brightest, yet still somewhat distant, star in the endless, pitch-black, velvet curtain of the cosmos. Time, here, also seems to flow more slowly. You float through a vast, quiet, deep void, filled with an absolute zero cold. And then, you see it. A planet, radiating a very unique, soft, aquamarine-like, blue-green glow in the darkness. It is Uranus, the seventh planet from the Sun. It does not have the magnificent storms of Jupiter. Nor does it wear the gorgeous rings of Saturn. It is so quiet. So elegant. So different. It is like a lonely poet, lost in deep thought, in a corner of the universe. It is lying on its side. Yes, unlike all the other planets, Uranus revolves around the Sun in a nearly lying down posture, in its long, unending orbit. Its axis of rotation is tilted at an incredible angle of 98 degrees. Imagine you are rolling a ball across the floor. You are not spinning it upright. You are rolling it on its side. That is the posture of Uranus. It does not spin. It lounges. This unique posture also brings it seasons that are incredibly long and extreme, seasons that we can hardly imagine. Each of its poles experiences 42 Earth years of continuous daylight, followed by 42 Earth years of complete darkness. A summer of eternal daylight, and a winter of eternal night. The rhythm of Uranus is slow, strange, and also full of a lazy kind of poetry. From a distance, the surface of Uranus is so serene, even somewhat featureless. Its aquamarine-like, pale blue-green atmosphere looks like a piece of perfect, smooth jade. But if you look closer, you will find that beneath this ultimate serenity, it also has its own storms. Its atmosphere, though it appears calm most of the time, has wind speeds that can reach 900 kilometers per hour. Some giant storms and vortices, known as dark spots, have also been glimpsed by our telescopes on Earth. They are like quiet ghosts, moving silently across the surface of this pale blue planet. The drama of Uranus is not a loud shout like Jupiter's. Its drama is hidden beneath a thin veil. It is subtle, cold, and whispered. And beneath the thick, pale blue clouds, scientists believe there is a strange, vast ocean of slush, composed of water, ammonia, and methane. And in the deeper parts of this strange ocean, the immense pressure may even compress carbon atoms into real diamonds. And then, these crystal clear, hard diamonds, like a silent, magnificent, unending diamond rain, slowly fall toward the planet's cold, rocky core. Imagine what a magnificent and luxurious sight that must be. Uranus also has its own small set of rings. They are not as wide and bright as Saturn's rings. They are dark, narrow, and faint. They are like some thin, almost invisible, smoke rings, caught in the sunlight. They are mainly composed of dark particles, coated with carbon-rich material. They quietly revolve around this sideways-lying planet, like a simple crown of shadows worn by a silent king. And this silent king also has a quiet court, composed of at least 28 known moons. Unlike all the other planets in the solar system, the names of these moons are not from ancient mythology. Their names all come from the poetic and imaginative literary works of Shakespeare and Alexander Pope. There is Titania, the noble queen of the fairies. There is Oberon, her majestic king. And there is Miranda, that strange moon, its surface covered in giant, scar-like cliffs. Those cliffs are taller than any mountain on Earth. These moons, they do not shout. They just murmur. They carry tales of long-forgotten, ancient impacts and frozen oceans. They, in the same tilted, harmonious posture, revolve around this quiet planet that seems to be forever lost in its own thoughts. Now, allow our consciousness to leave this sapphire-colored, lonely poet. We are about to embark on our most distant voyage for tonight. We have arrived at the eighth, and final, planet in the known solar system, at the very edge. This is a realm where darkness reigns. Here, the sun appears no brighter than a distant, bright star. Here, the winds scream across the icy clouds at the fastest speeds in the known cosmos. This is Neptune. A planet named after the Roman god of the sea. She is worthy of this name. She is fluid, deep, and endlessly captivating. She is a siren, composed of deep blue, cold, and mystery. A distant queen of the winds, who uses her silent, gale-force songs to entice all brave explorers. Neptune was the first planet discovered not by sight, but by mathematics. In the 19th century, astronomers noticed that Uranus's orbit was a little off. It seemed to be gently pulled by an unseen hand. Scientists, through complex calculations, predicted that there must be an unknown, more distant planet, affecting Uranus with its gravity. When astronomers pointed their telescopes to the coordinates predicted by mathematics, they found her. A planet discovered by logic, by numbers, and by the unquenchable curiosity of humankind. Neptune has a deeper, richer, more magnificent blue than Uranus. It is as if this planet is composed of crushed sapphires and the deepest midnight. But beneath this beauty lies cosmic chaos. Neptune is home to the fastest winds in the entire solar system. The winds here can reach speeds of 2,100 kilometers per hour. Faster than the speed of sound. Imagine giant storms, capable of tearing through steel, eternally spinning in a world colder than any place on Earth. In 1989, NASA's Voyager 2 spacecraft, as it flew past this planet, once discovered a huge, great dark spot. It was a massive storm system, the size of our Earth. But when later telescopes observed it again, it had disappeared, replaced by other storms. Neptune does not cling to her tempests. She lets them come and go freely. She is always changing. Her atmosphere is layered, dynamic, always in motion. Neptune is not a frozen statue. She is a vast, gaseous ocean, dreaming in currents. And beneath her deep blue clouds also lies a strange, superpressurized mantle of slush, composed of water, ammonia, and methane. And an unending diamond rain. Although she is so far from the sun, Neptune radiates more heat than she receives from the sun. She has a powerful internal engine. An inner warmth that defies the distance. Neptune also has a faint system of 5 main rings, composed of dark particles. They are like the thin, almost invisible, fine lace on a midnight-colored, thin shawl. And Neptune's most loyal, and most peculiar companion, is its largest moon, Triton. It is a frozen world. It has ice volcanoes, made of nitrogen and ice, that erupt like ghostly, quiet fountains. And the strangest thing is that Triton orbits Neptune backwards. This suggests that it was once a free celestial body. Perhaps a dwarf planet. And was later captured by Neptune's powerful gravity. It is a reluctant companion. A cosmic refugee. Neptune marks the final boundary of our known solar system. Beyond her orbit lies the Kuiper belt, filled with countless, icy bodies. And further out, is the great, dark, true unknown. But Neptune is not an end. She is a transition. A magnificent portal, connecting the known and the mysterious. She is teaching us that even in the coldest, most distant places, there is still motion, beauty, and powerful energy. Now, just allow your consciousness to rest on these 2 mysterious planets, at the outer edge of the solar system, like the ice blue twins. Feel the lazy, quiet elegance of Uranus, like a sideways-lying, contemplative poet. And also feel the deep, powerful beauty of Neptune, like a mighty siren queen who sings with the gales. The exotic tranquility of that warm Barbary coast harbor, filled with the scent of spices, still lingers in your consciousness. The memory of that world, a world of masculine adventurers and merchants, a world of power and vibrant exchange, settles deep within you, like a ship coming to rest in a safe port. Now, feel the sails of your mind catch a new wind. It is a different wind, a wind that has traveled much farther. It is a warmer, more humid wind, one that has crossed the vast Indian Ocean. Our journey continues eastward. We leave behind the world of the Mediterranean, and sail toward the distant, mysterious Orient. Our ship, after a long, seemingly endless voyage, has arrived in the South China Sea of the early 19th century. This, too, is a golden age of piracy, a world filled with riches, opportunity, and lawless freedom. But the sovereign who reigns here is not one of the bearded, eye-patched, rugged men we are familiar with. The ruler here is a woman. A powerful pirate queen who rose from the lowest rungs of society to the pinnacle of power, through her unparalleled wisdom, her cunning, and her resilient will. Her name is Qing Shi. Now, allow your consciousness to become like a silent sea bird, circling quietly in the night sky over the South China Sea. You look down. And you see not one, or a few ships. You see a vast, silent city, floating on the sea, a city composed of hundreds of large and small, Chinese-style sailing junks. This is the fleet of Qing Shi. A private, armed maritime force that, at its peak, commanded more than 30,000 members, the largest in the entire world at that time. You glide slowly over this silent fleet. And then, you land on the mast of the flagship, the most central and most magnificent vessel of them all. It is a huge, ornately decorated, three-masted Fujianese junk ship. You see its great, deep red, bat-like sails, which are now lowered and neatly folded on the deck. You see the intricate carvings on its hull, totems of dragons and phoenixes, symbolizing luck and power, crafted by skilled artisans. You see rows of red, silk lanterns hanging from the stern. Although they are not lit at this moment, you can still imagine what a magnificent and warm sight it must be when they are all lit together in the darkness of the night. The entire deck is very quiet. The fierce pirates, who are so brave during the day, are now, for the most part, deep in their dreams. You can only hear the gentle, rhythmic sound of the waves lapping against the massive hull of the ship, a reassuring sound of water. And then, your gaze is drawn to a single window in the captain's cabin, from which a faint candlelight is glowing. Your consciousness, like a wisp of smoke, passes through the exquisite, wooden latticework of the window, and enters the room inside. This is the private, lonely heart of this queen of the South China Sea. You see Qing Shi, sitting alone, kneeling before a wide, low table made of precious wood. She is not wearing the magnificent robes that symbolize her power. She is just wearing a simple, comfortable set of silk, informal clothes. There are no gold or silver treasures before her. Before her, there is only a large, detailed, nautical chart, spread out, depicting the entire coastline of the South China Sea, from Guangdong to Vietnam. You see her face, a face that was once desired by countless men. At this moment, it does not show any of the soft, feminine expressions. Her face only shows a kind of wisdom, a fatigue, and a profound, immense, loneliness that belongs only to a supreme ruler. In her hand, she holds a small writing brush. By the light of a single, flickering candle, swaying gently with the slight rocking of the ship, she is carefully, intently, examining the great chart before her. The room is incredibly quiet. You can only hear the ceaseless, gentle sound of the waves. You can only hear the occasional, faint creak from the deep wooden structure of the cabin, as it strains against the rise and fall of the sea. And you can also hear the very faint, almost imperceptible sound of her own steady breathing. What, you wonder, is she thinking about? Perhaps she is planning the fleet's next voyage. Which prosperous coastal town, with lax defenses, to attack? Which official convoy, returning from overseas laden with treasure, to intercept? Or perhaps, she is reviewing the incredibly strict code of laws that she herself has established, the code that holds this vast fleet together. That code stipulates that anyone who disobeys a superior's command will be immediately executed. Anyone who privately hoards booty will also be executed. And anyone who violates a female captive will be punished with the most severe penalty. It is this ironclad, unquestionable discipline that has transformed this mob of tens of thousands of unruly, desperate men into a truly fearsome, invincible army. But at this moment, in our dreamscape, perhaps she is not thinking about these things. Perhaps she is just reflecting on her own incredible life, a life so full of legend, and also full of hardship. Perhaps she is thinking about how she rose, step by step, from being the most humble prostitute on a flower boat, a floating brothel in Guangzhou, to where she is today. Perhaps she is thinking about her ambitious, powerful pirate king husband, Zheng Yi, and how he was unexpectedly lost to the sea in a sudden typhoon. And perhaps, she is also thinking about how, in the most dangerous moments after her husband's death, moments filled with betrayal and power struggles, she, with her extraordinary political skills and wisdom of alliances, finally managed to reunite this fleet, which was on the verge of splintering, under her own command, and led it to an unprecedented, glorious peak. She is a woman. In a dark era where women were seen as the appendages and property of men, she became a true sovereign, more powerful than any man in the world at that time. And behind this immense success, what an immense, unshareable, and suffocating loneliness must be hidden. She has no partner with whom she can have an equal dialogue. She has no intimate sisters with whom she can truly let down her guard. All she has is this vast, silent fleet. And this boundless, equally silent, South China Sea at night. Now, just allow your consciousness to rest in this quiet cabin of the South China Sea Queen, a cabin that is lit by a single candle, alone, in the deep of the night. Feel the warm night wind of the South China Sea, carrying the salty mist, as it blows in through the open window. Listen to the eternal, lullaby-like sound of the gentle waves lapping against this huge, wooden flagship. And also feel that profound, immense loneliness of a queen, a loneliness hidden behind great power. The profound, immense loneliness of a queen, hidden behind great power, continues to flow gently within your consciousness. You are resting in that quiet cabin, lit by a single candle, feeling that unique, deep serenity. Now, you feel that the great, Chinese junk ship begins to set sail once more. It carries your consciousness away from the South China Sea, a sea so full of mystery and legend. It sails eastward, into the vast, more unknown, great Pacific Ocean. This is an incredibly long, and incredibly lonely, journey. You drift on the sea for weeks, even months. You witness countless magnificent sunrises, and equally magnificent sunsets. You see countless quiet nights, filled with brilliant, twinkling stars. You also experience countless great storms from the depths of the ocean. You feel the awesome, violent tossing of your ship in the giant, mountain-like waves. Finally, after all of this, you arrive in a new, warm sea, one filled with sunshine and life. This is the Caribbean Sea. This is the final home of all our modern, romantic imaginations about pirates. You can feel that the air here is so warm and humid. It carries a scent that is a mixture of the saltiness of the sea, the sweet fragrance of tropical flowers, and the sweet, caramel-like aroma drifting from the sugar cane fields on the nearby islands. You see that the seawater here is a breathtaking, clear, turquoise color you have never seen before. Under the brilliant sunlight, the clear seawater glitters with an enchanting light, as if it were crushed emeralds. You see the small, tropical islands, dotted about in the distance. The islands are covered with tall, swaying palm trees, and all kinds of exotic, brightly colored plants you cannot name. White, fine sandy beaches, like elegant, ivory lace, surround each green island. This place seems to be paradise. An adventurer's paradise, filled with wealth, freedom, and infinite possibility. And you, at this moment, are lying on a hammock, on the deck of a typical pirate ship of this era. You can feel the hammock, woven from coarse, strong hemp rope, swaying gently from side to side in a most rhythmic way, with the rocking of the ship. You smell the air, a mixture of the sun-baked, woody scent of the deck, and the rich, sweet aroma of rum, seeping out from the ship's hold. You can hear the steady, rhythmic snores of the other pirates, their skin tanned dark, who are also napping in their hammocks or in the shade of the deck. You look up and see the great, white sails, hanging limply from the tall masts. Because the wind has stopped. You have entered the most mysterious, most trying, and also the most magically hypnotic doldrums of this tropical sea. You see the vast, turquoise ocean around you, as calm as a great, perfect mirror. Not a single ripple. Your ship, like an ancient insect, solidified in amber, is quietly moored on this great, still, blue-green crystal. You feel that time, here, seems to have lost all meaning completely. Yesterday, and today, and tomorrow, will all be exactly the same. The same, is the scorching tropical sun, shining directly down from above, a sun that could almost bake a person. The same, is the sticky, suffocating, motionless air, as if it has been boiled. And the same, is the boundless, sleep-inducing, eternal, waiting. You close your eyes. You no longer think. You entrust your entire body and mind completely to this unique, intense, and melting serenity of the Caribbean doldrums. You feel yourself floating in a warm, viscous, boundless ocean, an ocean made of time itself. You feel your body, bit by bit, being melted by this intense, quiet air. You feel your consciousness also, bit by bit, becoming more blurred, and more soft. And so you float, and you wait. Waiting for that first, gentle sea breeze, which you do not know when it will blow again. That unique, hypnotic tranquility, brought by the doldrums, where time stands still, continues to flow gently within your consciousness. You are lying in that hammock, woven from coarse hemp rope, feeling your body and consciousness both being melted by the intense, viscous air. You just float, and you wait. And then, you feel it. You feel a very faint, very gentle breeze, blowing from the distant horizon. It gently caresses your cheek. You open your eyes. You see the great, white sail above your head, which has been hanging motionless for days, its very bottom edge being gently stirred by this faint breeze. And then, you hear the sailors on the deck, who have also grown numb from the waiting, let out a collective, satisfied sigh of relief. They begin to move. You hear their experienced, clear commands. You hear the resilient creaking of the thick ropes as they are being retightened. You hear the great, powerful sound of the massive sail as it is once again filled with the wind. Your ship begins to slowly, once again, sail forward. It has left that beautiful, sleep-inducing doldrum. Where is it headed? In our dreamscape, it is no longer going to chase any treasure ships filled with gold and silver. Nor is it going to attack any loosely defended harbors. It has grown tired of all the conflicts of the secular world. It is about to embark on its final, and most important, voyage. To find a harbor, where it, and all the tired souls on board who have wandered for a lifetime, can finally find rest. Now, allow your consciousness to rise up once more from this ship. You, like an ancient god who commands time, float quietly in the high sky. In your heart, you review this long, epic journey of piracy that we have traveled together, a journey spanning thousands of years. You recall all the different forms of freedom that we have visited together. You remember the sea peoples, ghostly and indistinct in the mists of the Mediterranean over 3,000 years ago. The freedom they pursued was a most primal, wild, and mysterious one. You remember the Vikings, who sailed forth fearlessly on the cold waves of the North Sea in their longships. The freedom they pursued was one of exploration, of expanding ever outward toward the unknown horizon. You remember the Barbarossa brothers, who were both merchants and pirates, in the exotic ports of the Barbary coast. The freedom they pursued was one of political wisdom, of maneuvering skillfully between nations. You remember the powerful queen of the South China Sea, Qing Shi, alone in her quiet flagship cabin at night, gazing at her nautical charts. The freedom she possessed was a sublime loneliness, one hidden behind great power, understood by no one. And you also remember the famous pirates of the Caribbean we just left, who indulged in the pleasures of the moment under the sun. The freedom they pursued was the purest kind, one that only asks about today and not tomorrow, a freedom as fiery and fleeting as rum. All these different forms of freedom, they are all filled with a deadly allure. But at the same time, they all come with an extremely high price. That price is an eternal, dangerous wandering. That price is a complete break with all stable, orderly life on land. That price is a deep, endless solitude, one that is inevitable on the vast, unforgiving sea. Now, it is time to find a final home for all these wandering, tired souls who have pursued various forms of freedom for a lifetime. Allow your consciousness to follow an old, weathered, legendary pirate ship. You see that its hull is covered with the scars of battle. Its sails have long since become old and tattered. It has completed its final adventure. Now, it carries the old, gray-haired pirates on board, and sails slowly toward a completely unknown sea, one that has never been marked on any map. They sail for a long, long time. Until they arrive at a mysterious sea, one that is like the end of the world, eternally shrouded in a thin, golden, twilight mist. Here, the seawater is completely still. Here, the wind has also completely ceased. And then, they see it, the legendary, final harbor of the pirates. It is a huge, circular, incredibly tranquil lagoon, perfectly protected by a great, ring-shaped coral reef, like a natural breakwater. You follow this old pirate ship as it slowly sails into this final harbor. You are deeply shaken by the sight before you. You see, in this incredibly calm lagoon, which is like a piece of blue crystal, hundreds, even thousands of famous, legendary ships from different eras and different civilizations, are quietly moored. You see ancient Egyptian merchant ships with square sails. You see ancient Greek warships with 3 rows of oars. You see Viking longships with dragon-carved prows. You see Chinese junk ships with great, red, stiff sails. And you see Spanish galleons, which were once laden with gold. All these ships, which once stirred up endless waves on the world's oceans, ships so full of power and the spirit of adventure, are now quietly moored here. A thick layer of sea dust has settled on them. Their sails have all been lowered. Their anchors have all been cast deep into the eternal seabed of this quiet, tideless lagoon. This is the final home for all wandering souls. The eternal resting place for all tired adventurers. You see the old pirate ship that you have been following also slowly find its own empty spot in this silent fleet. You hear the dull, yet incredibly satisfying sound of its heavy, great anchor being cast into the water for the last time. And then, it, too, like all the other ships, falls into an eternal, absolute, peaceful slumber. The old pirates on board finally lay down all their heavy weapons. They lie on the deck, their faces bearing a final, relieved, and satisfied smile, the kind that comes after a lifetime of dangerous and free adventure. And then, they, too, sink into a deep, sweet sleep, from which they will never awaken. And now, our grand epic of the ocean, of freedom, and of adventure, has finally reached its ultimate destination. Let all the exotic, legendary stories and wondrous feelings that we have experienced together, gradually settle, becoming a quiet and warm foundation deep within your heart. You feel safe, you feel understood, and you also feel a final, complete freedom, that is, the absolute freedom of the heart, one that is released from all desire and pursuit. In this final, complete, and luminous peace, filled with eternal rest, allow your body and your mind to receive the most perfect, the most final, the most eternal repose. Good night, my dear friend. Our journey is now complete. It is time, now, to enter your own, most peaceful, most sweet dreamland. Sleep now. Rest assuredly, and sleep.